Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic, Last Non-Classics. This is episode number... Let me get the right episode number here. It is episode number 2441 and Doubleshot number 2335. We're reviewing Fantastic Four and the Hulk. Now, the thing of Fantastic Four is, with this book reviewing, we have like 3 more trades left for Fantastic Four, and that's it. We have Fantastic Four Visionaries by John Byrne, Volume 7. This is actually the second last collection issue from his run. This book collects issues of Fantastic Four 285, 286, and 19. Avengers 263 and 14, and X-Factor number 1. John Byrne pretty much writes and draws pretty much everything here. Basically, the Avengers Annual and Avengers 263 is done by Roger Stern. The artwork for that one is done by John Buscema. Bob Layton does the writing for X-Factor number 1. Justin Goose does the artwork for X-Factor number 1. First, now, in the case of 19, Avengers 19, Fantastic Four 19, and Avengers 14, it's a 2-part story that I've kind of discussed already. I think in a Avengers Epic Collection, I think it was. It's a crossover story between the Avengers and Fantastic Four. They also kind of sort of a minor tradition with the Avengers, where like a lot of the annuals are crossover with another series annuals. And right after that, then we have a 2-parter. We have basically a standalone issue, 285, one of only 2 issues of this whole trade of the series, where it came out in December 1985, and of course the following issue came out in January 1986. Or mostly put, it's basically it's John Byrne's take on what was basically kind of the concept of the series for Fantastic Four back in the 70s, where we had Human Torch, but we had Herbie. It was for people from basically becoming, actual Human Torches, and this issue here kind of is a PSA on that. It's an interesting issue of what it is, and it's just okay, mostly. But then we lead into an issue, the reason why I want to discuss this first before talking about an Avengers Epic Collection, which we'll discuss in the future. We have Avengers 263, where this is the first of a 3-parter that would launch off X-Factor. The finale being the first issue of X-Factor. Now, of course, next Avengers talk about would just be the next Epic Collection. Now, I didn't discuss this with the last time I talked about Avengers. I want to talk about Avengers Absolute Vision, because I figured this is a good place to talk about this issue, because mostly put, it's part 1 3-parter, and this is a good place to talk about it. Now you are thinking, why not discuss this in the first trade for X-Factor? Well, that'll be discussed in the future. I'll be discussing that. Don't worry about that. I'll discuss what's going to replace Avengers when I talk about the review for that one, because it's going to be quite interesting what to discuss there. So mostly put, basically, it's all about an airplane crash and something blowing the ocean floor. The Avengers lineup issue is mostly Cap, Black Knight, Wasp, Captain Marvel, and a few others. Also, Submariner had just joined the team in the previous issue, let's basically find quarters. Off the comment, pages. I could be doing me liking. Let's see. I think I'll take this room. Northeast Simple. Yes, except it's Hercules' room, and they banter over it. It's so funny. And then, of course, Captain Marvel, this is, of course, Molly Garber knows this is basically what's going on there. And she basically, there's a, submarine, of course, she goes to the ocean floor, finds this mysterious cocoon, which we don't find out what's exactly in the cocoon until the Fantastic Four issue. Yep, and a living laser is here. Yep. And also up here with Warlock and her. And of course, he's like, whoosh. And eventually everybody dives down to see what it is. It's some serious cocoon. And of course, he got off the ocean floor. It's up of an old man. And then they put the cocoon, and of course, whatever was covering up basically uncovered it. And then reveal there's a mysterious red-haired woman inside of the damn thing. So, and it's called Like a Phoenix. Yep, so the Fantastic Four come back for a little adventure in space. probably have been last issue. Of course, the Avengers basically are here because at this point in time, we actually have Fantastic Four, so we had carted out of the Avengers Mansion. So then, of course, they unlock it, and it's... Who is it? It's Jean Grey! Yep, it's Jean Grey. Of course, everyone's wondering what the heck is going on here. Of course, she's basically going crazy with Jean Grey stuff. You wonder, like, what's going on here? Of course, she's... And by the way, she thinks the Invisible Woman should be Invisible Girl. Showing the fact she's out of touch for a while. And of course, we got the Sentinels attacking him by the space station with Stephen Lang. Yeah. Before I continue here, this is a retcon. Yes, a retcon. John Byrne himself was approached to do this retcon, not by somebody at Marvel Comics for this retcon. Oh no. A fan pitched his idea to him, and he went with it. And that fan, here's the thing about, I found out about this story in a book about Marvel Comics, this biography of Marvel Comics history, about various stuff. This retcon was the idea of Kurt Busiek. Yes, seriously. This was Kurt Busiek's idea that was put into the book. And I read this in a Marvel novel. Yes, they talk about some behind-the-scenes stuff from Marvel. And this was his idea. Like, Kurt Busiek? Really? And by the way, this came out in 1986. And if you're really curious... Excuse me. Kurt Busiek's very first comic work Yeah, because I read a story, he's one who approached him about this, which is interesting. Even though he just started on comic just a couple years prior. But I heard a story that this was actually Kurt Busiek's idea for this retcon. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Yeah, it's just... Yeah, I read about this in a novel. Like, it's just kind of interesting the fact that Kurt Busiek basically kind of pitched this. He kind of gave the John Byrne's idea at the Comic-Con he went to. That's a story I've heard. I don't know. I never spoke to Kurt Busiek about it, so if I get a chance to talk to Kurt Busiek or John Byrne about this particular concept, I will ask him about it if this was actually his idea, because I read about a novel. This actually was his idea. And by the way, this is not fiction. Yeah, that this whole idea of the Phoenix since issue 108 was basically a separate being, not it's just personally Jean Grey, wasn't really real Jean Grey. Yeah, this is all John Byrne's idea. This is all Kurt Busiek's idea, because he approached John Byrne about this. I think back in the 70s, maybe, because he did the comic in 1983, so he was already writing the books at this point period of time. John Byrne, Kurt Busiek. So that's what I have heard. That's what happened. That he was approached to this idea, but why he took it to 1983 to do it, I'm not sure. But like I just said, if I get a chance to meet Kurt Busiek or John Byrne, I will ask about this, because, yeah. So apparently they don't really know. Of course, Jean Grey has no idea what the heck is going on. Like, why is Fantastic Four wearing a different costume when she last saw him? Why Invisible Girl called Invisible Woman? And why? And then she heard said, "Oh crap, Mag Neil's leading the X-Men." Yep. So, and of course, they kind of debrief about stuff that happened when she was gone, related to her, and she's not really believing it. And of course, she's really wants these Cyclops again. Yeah, and of course, this will lead into the first issue of X Factor, because at the minute, the return of the original X-Men. Yeah, I heard a story about this that people really... I heard this in a documentary. People really want to see return of the original 5 X-Men so badly. They want to, like, come back together. Because prior to this very issue, Beast, Iceman, and Angel, they were just in Defenders. Defenders had just been canceled just prior to this. Cyclops was retired. Yeah, and Jean Grey was dead, obviously. Of course, currently, all five are still alive. Angel is not currently doing anything now in comics. Iceman is been stupidly retconned to be gay. Cyclops is still around, except it calls him Captain Krakatoa. Jean Grey is still around too. Beast is a bad guy now. Because of the Ben Percy did. So then we see Cyclops cutting wood with his optic blast. And you see Madeline Pryor, his wife, with his son. Which he tried to call him Christopher. Because see, this child was like retconned to being Cable. You see, the whole thing with the name Nathan. That's his first name. That was Madeline's idea to call him that because, according to Cyclops in story, he wanted to call him Charles Christopher, named after his biological father and his father figure. His father being Christopher Summers, and Charles being Charles Xavier. But she wanted to call him Nathan, after the guy who bullied him as a child. Yes. So he's like very bitter. And then he's informed that, Jean Grey is back. So then, of course, they referenced, like I mentioned, Defenders 152 had just been canceled. They canceled it because of Secret Wars. And some members died. Here's two. And, of course, basically, it's like this first issue of this, which is like more about this one, like X Factor. It's like it's laying the groundwork for the brand new X Factor ongoing. Fantastic Four is here just to continue the story. The Avengers are not here. So eventually, everybody reunites. And of course, Jean Grey basically is like, he reunites with her because he's like very shocked to see her again. Yep, and of course, they inform everything was going on here. And eventually, they decided to form, over the course of this issue, basically X Factor itself, where Cyclops was distraught. Yeah, then of course, basically, thanks to the debuting Cameron Hodge, who makes his debut in this issue. And oh boy, there's stuff related to him not revealed until 2 years into the book. Yep, so yeah, we see the first appearance of Rusty Collins, who's basically unleashing fire. We have X-Factor, brand new attire, and of course they still go into action. That's the issue itself. Oh yeah, also Jean Grey is shocked to see Beast now covered in fur. Yeah, she is shocked to see that. Yep. And that's trade in a nutshell. It's really good. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. Next up we have is from Incredible Hulk War Dogs. We have this book collect the issues of Incredible Hulk Volume 2, issues 12 to 20, and the 2000 annual. Excuse me. Yeah, why the heck it was changed to Incredible Hulk with issues this one, I don't know. It's quite weird. But the opening issue of this thing is Hulk taking on his alternate personalities. And we also have a view of a woman named Angela Lepsicombe, who's here for pretty much like a lot of these issues. She's here up until issue 32. I'll make a guest appearance also in the pages of Avengers. Yeah, basically these issues are written by Paul Jenkins. Yeah, he's the writer of this book. We also have the first appearance of John Riker. Yes. This is his debut. He, of course, basically would become villain for these set of issues. He technically made his first appearance as Spider-Man Cybernetic comic number 51. That was released in 1987. But issue 2 was his first ever appearance. And here's the thing. After this arc wraps up, he does appear against Warhol Gamma Corps, and then he appears once again in issue 61 and 605 of Incredible Hulk. Yeah, it's kind of like return to the status quo loosely, but also put it's like Hulk battling himself. That's mostly put exactly what the first two issues are. We have the Dogs of War issue, starting with issue 14. The Dogs of War, basically Gamma Dogs. You can wait, Gamma Dogs? Yes, this was also used for the live action movie for Hulk. Mm-hmm. And how long would Dogs of War last for? I think it lasts about issue 20. Which they also include the annual here as well for reasons. Mm-hmm. But I think it's wrapped up by issue 20. Yeah, 20 is when they wrap up this storyline. So we also have guest appearances here by Doc Samson and Bubba Ross. You're probably thinking, where's Betty? I'll discuss that when I discuss the end of the run. Yeah, it's kind of like basically you see these issues and like, okay, we have this general who wants to fight the Hulk throughout a lot of these issues. And yeah, and it just basically just Hulk deal with various different stuff here with the military, which is interesting to say the least. The annual itself mostly is basically the Avengers get involved in this storyline. Yes, the Avengers get involved in the annual for the year 2000, which is also my last thing I'll discuss for this line because I've already discussed 2001 already, so I'm not going to discuss that more. Yeah, basically, it's just the Hulk take on the Avengers in the annual. Yep. And then apparently we see Flux. Yes. Flux was a character who made his debut in issue 17 of this run, and he got killed off in the first issue of Gamma Corps. Yeah, he's only here just for these 4 issues. And that's basically it. By the end of the storyline, basically, like, the Hulks are basically taken care of. And Flux is sitting in after the storyline until World War Hulk Gamma Corps, where he's killed off in the opening issue. And the very next issue is the Maximum Security tie-in. Yep. Very interesting set of issues for Hulk. But this is kind of the start of Paul Jenkins' run of the book. And if you're really curious, how long was this run on this book? Yes, this was like a 20-issue run. I'm trying to look up and see. I know, like, I think 12 was the start of this run, I think. Yeah, 12 was the start of this run, and the run didn't wrap up until... Well, it stopped with... Let's see. It stopped with issue 32. That was the last issue he worked on. Mm-hmm. He did not work on the next issue. Nope. Because I think Sean McKeever, Christopher is dead in the next issue, but yeah. He did the issue to issue 32, so is this kind of in a way the end of his issues? Yes. This kind of is the end of Paul Jenkins' time in the book, which is interesting to say the least. Yep. Also, since I wrote the next thing already, basically, I'm done with the annuals this volume. Yeah. So... Still got annuals left to go for Volume 1, but you might be curious. Okay, so was there any more annuals released for Incredible Hulk? Like, after the, basically the annuals released for Volume 2 for the series. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which, by the way, like I mentioned, was only just 3. Yes, after those annuals came out, There wasn't a single annual published for a long time. And you're thinking, how long? Well, how should I put this? The next annual didn't come out until when the book was known as Indestructible Hulk, which by the way, that annual came out in 2013, 12 years after the last annual. And you're thinking, interesting. Did Hulk Volume 3 have an annual? Yes, it did. It certainly did. So you have 19 plus 3, that's basically about 22. This makes 23, 24. What is known as Totally Awesome Hulk? It did not have an annual. You're thinking, okay, what about Immortal Hulk? Did this book have an annual? No, it did not. Nope. Immortal Hulk did not have an annual. You're thinking, okay, did Hulk Volume 5 have an annual? Yes, it did. It had one. Dave Prowse wrote it. It came out just last year. Yep, he wrote the one of the stories of the book. Of course, like in the case of the annual for also for Thor, this annual was basically published between the volumes. But yeah, so basically after this annual, Hulk only had about 3 annuals published, and that was it. Actually, like 4. Yep. So yeah, that's it. Particular view. Next up is One Piece, and it's on to more comic corner. Next view. Bye.